Now, we all know that binary option traders are not as sophisticated, we can say, as the more traditional Forex traders, and they don't always know the abbreviations to the assets. So spot option has solved that, taken care of that, just by providing the flag icons or the asset icons, like you can see, like Nike or other ones that are familiar to people, so that they don't have to always know that the DKK stands for the Danish krone. Nothing is worse for a trader than not knowing if his trade went through or not. That's why spot option has such a clear confirmation window that clearly notifies the trader that his trade was successfully activated. And if the trade did not go through, the trader knows that he needs to reperform his trade, and this causes a happy trader and also a happy operator. We have the open positions table. A trader needs to see clearly what he's performed and where it stands. It's divided into the feature types, the different feature types here on the tabs, and the expired positions are also there in the same place. There's no need to leave the page. He doesn't have to jump around from place to place. He can be on one page, the same open table, and view the history, assess his profits, and learn from past mistakes or successes. We have the expiry graph. A trader wants to believe that the expiries that he received were legitimate. Sometimes he wants to see proof. So we have the expiry graph that he can see in a clear fashion for any given moment. Also, once again, on the same trading page. He doesn't have to jump around. It's all there clearly in front of him, legitimizing his expiry. Okay, we have also the option rate versus the current rate. And this is especially important for features such as long-term, where the option rate doesn't always clearly represent the market rate, as an option in itself is just the ability to purchase at a set price. So here they can see the difference. And even though that's what an option rate means, still sometimes a trader can feel like he was misled if he's not clearly notified. So this shows them the difference, and then he can make also just a more educated trade. Talk a little bit about the second principle, simplicity. Okay, websites for binary options need to be dynamic. They need to have different features. It's with the simple up-down model, but there needs to be a little bit more excitement, a little bit more action. So, spot option has many different features, whether it's the option builder or the one-touch or the 60 seconds or pairs, or even now binary plus, which is ladder trading. So it's all basically like different versions of the same up-down model. But if they don't know what to do, it's not going to help, because they'll either be confused, intimidated, and they simply won't do it. So therefore, we've basically settled it in 4 steps for each one of these features, the how-to trades. They know exactly what to do, how to do it, and it's also very attractive. One-click transactions. Traders don't want to waste their time in a tedious transaction process, which can cause them just to not want to do it, or then definitely not want to do it again. So we've gotten the transaction process down to 1 step. Trader with this simple 1-step process is more inclined to repeat it. Customizable layouts. Not every trader likes to see it in rows. They want to see it in cubes. They want to see it in graphs. Whatever it is that they want to see it, they customize it in the way which is most comfortable for them. The layout flow. It's very important that this follows the exact thought process of the trader. What asset do I want to trade on? When do I want it to expire? How much do I want to invest? And then you want to get the receipt. That's why the layout flow is following exactly this thought process. Now I'm going to quickly talk about the tools. The first is the rate capturing. It's a trust builder. Delays in this industry are unacceptable. Traders want to trade on the rate that they clicked on. But we all know that this is not always possible. There are extenuating circumstances, such as poor internet connectivity, for example. And so this is why we have the rate capturing, to ensure the trader that the rate that he clicked on is exactly the rate which he's getting to trade on. And even if it's for some reason not, for the reasons that I mentioned earlier, like poor internet, for example, they have the ability to cancel the option within 3 seconds or 4 seconds, or what the operator defined in his rules. And this is another, it's a trust builder. In case that the rate isn't exactly what he expected, it's there clearly described in front of him. There's also the time remaining function. This shows the trader how much time he has left to purchase an option. That avoids the feeling that he wants to trade on a certain option and then it's suddenly no longer available. So this is solved with the time remaining. We have also enlarged graphs, which allows the trader to analyze the trends accurately. He doesn't need to squint or, try to figure out what's written there. Everything is large and clear in front of his eyes. Spot2 really has provided this immaculately. The upsells, very, very important tools. Traders often wish that they'd made larger investments when they see that the trade is going their way. Vice versa, if they see that they haven't really targeted what they meant to do, sometimes they want a way out. They want to cut their losses. So with these tools, they have the ability to do so. For example, they have the sell option. Sell allows them to sell back the option that they purchased at a price, of course, but they can cut their losses. Or on the other hand, they can also take a profit. There's the double up, which allows them to actually duplicate the transaction that they made. They can duplicate it with the same terms, but just with the new market conditions. And there's also rollover, which allows them to delay their expiry time for those instances where they said, I know I could have had it, I just need a little bit more time. So they can do that with rollover. They can delay to the next expiry time. And then there's the cherry on top, which is our mobile application. Truly, truly unrivaled, trading on the go, accessible for whatever, with the same top-notch functionality as the web. And really, there's not much to say about it because it speaks for itself. You can download it in the iTunes store and see it for yourself. It's really, really state-of-the-art and top-notch, and I haven't seen anything like it. So we have all the different features that I discussed. We have basically every tool that we need. And I believe that the Spot2 platform has captured the three simple principles which define the trader experience: simplicity, clarity, and tools to provide the best trader experience ever. And I'd also just like to take this opportunity to welcome our newest partners, HY Markets. They're regulated in the UK and the Middle East. They're one of the largest financial brokers in Asia and the Middle East. So welcome to the family. And we're looking forward to embarking on a successful partnership together. And for all those who haven't yet joined the binary option sensation and are ready to, we'll welcome you at our booth. So thank you very much.
Great. So it's nice to have you here all. We'll start with a short video. I'm Shay, Shai, whatever you like. Hamama, it's the important stuff. So we'll start with a short video, and then I'll say a few words about MarketSpulse. So please, can you play the video? So MarketSpulse has been in the binary options market since 2008. We mainly focus on the enterprise class solution, and we provide an enterprise for the enterprise class companies. Our first client was launched in Japan in 2010, and ever since we launched several others. So you're most welcome to visit our website and to see our client's website. What we focus at is giving our clients a flexible solution. And that means that whenever a client comes and he has different needs, we need to adjust ourselves to him. So maybe if we can take a look of the three. We just, it doesn't work.
That's a user error. That is.
Tommy worked perfectly with it. That? Okay, that's about the company. Already been there, done that. Okay, these are a few of our clients, as you can see here. Optech, Ava, Huntech, FX Trade, located globally. Maybe we can give a few examples about our clients. So when Optech came to us and wanted to work, they had their own understanding and their own way of how they want the business to work, especially in terms of client management, lead management, etc. At that stage, all the platforms were closed. Nobody provided an API or the ability to adjust the platform to their needs. That enforced us to create an open API so that Optech can put or can embed their business strategy in the technology, to have a technology that really suits their strategy. Today, they have their own lead management and CRM system. They created it by themselves. They run it with our platform. They have their unique knowledge that they're using. Nobody else has this knowledge. And that was one of the things when I'm speaking or talking about having the platform customized to the customers, that's one good example. Second example is Huntech Group. When Huntech established and started the business with us, they wanted to have a few unique features, especially in terms of to enhance the user engagement. That was a leaderboard, VIP system. So we had to do a lot of adjustment in order to accommodate their needs. And this is also something we did. There are some representatives here from Huntech, so you can catch them on the way out to get recommendations if you'd like. Third example is FX Trade. FX Trade Financial, like I mentioned, were our first client in Japan. As you know, working in the Japanese regulated market is not an easy thing. And in the past 2.5 years, we've been requested by FX Trade, who were requested by the regulator for several adjustments. Either it's reporting on the way this, or keeping data in the database and all these sort of stuff. And all these things are constantly being accommodated by us as a company. So to summarize, we are looking to have to adjust ourselves to our clients, and this is what we see as our main advantage in this market. We're showing today in our booth a few of the new features. There's a new tablet application, the option on demand, our new CRM. You're most welcome on our booth to come get some more information about these new features. I won't start demonstrating them and with a long lecture because that's not the purpose. I think that's it.
All right, is this thing on? It is. Excellent. First of all, good afternoon to everybody. Thank you very much for coming out and listening to whatever it is everybody has to say. I have to admit that when I was asked to speak at this thing, I had this little issue of what would I talk about? I figured that for the most part, everybody's going to come up here and give a 15-minute sales pitch, or they're going to tell you why you as a broker should be using binary options or adding it to your offering. I think I'm going to avoid that. First off, because you wouldn't be sitting here if you didn't have an idea what binary options were. And secondly, and more, I don't want to actually sit here and do a sales pitch. If anybody's interested in actually checking out our product, they can feel free to swing by the booth. So, freedom of choice, that's where I started. I'd like to say that I'm going to start out with what John Steinbeck has to say about it, and then we'll move on with it. The Hebrew word timshel, thou mayest. Thou gives a choice. It might be the most important word in the world. That says the way is open. That throws it right back on a man. For thou mayest, it is also true that thou mayest not. And obviously there's lots of thou and mayest, so, you know, it's supposed to be all poetic and stuff, but the reality of it is if you put in the words freedom of choice into Google, everything you come up with is socially or political conscious, something that has to do with the consciousness of that stuff. So This is what I came up with. Is it profound? No, it just means you can or can't do something. It's that simple. You get a choice. Now, where does this actually tie into anything that has to do with trading, binary options, or whatnot? It's quite simple. We're all consumers. We all have the internet. You know, I bet some of you guys like to buy running shoes or guitars or cars or whatever it is you like to buy online. I don't know. At the end of the day, you're going to sit down and you're going to go over what's available to you for what prices. You're going to find the best deal for you. Retail trading is no different. These people that are traders are not sitting at home saying, hey, I'm going to go find a quick way to lose my money. No. They're sitting there and they're trying to figure out how they're going to make a little bit more money. So at the end of the day, they get a choice. And this choice is something that we all provide for them in some sense of it. If we were to go up the chain, we've got the brokers. Brokers, everybody's got their own thing, you know. Some people want a trading platform. Other people want to add a CRM to it. Some people want marketing, whatever. Everybody's got a little bit of a different way of looking at things, and they don't necessarily want an entire package. So what they actually get is up to them. It's their choice. So it's Tech Financials and Market Pulse and Tradeologic and everybody else, all the providers in this situation, to actually come up with the right choices for these people, for these brokers. We want to make it worth their while. So we're going to come back to freedom of choice a little bit later, but what is and what's coming? I bet if I took 10 people out of this room, I took you aside and I asked you what's the first thing that comes to mind when I ask you to relate something to binary options. 7 out of 10 are going to say gaming. It's a casino. And the truth is, that's true. You're damn straight. That's exactly what it is. So it's the binary industry has been walking the cusp with the trading world and gaming for the last 3 years, and we've all gotten away with it. And it's been very useful to all of us in building our businesses. It's made traffic available to us from all different kinds of verticals, and we didn't have to make a choice because we've got these guys, we've got these guys, and there is no regulation, so we can do whatever we want, right? Well, that used to be the case. I think that with Playtech, I assume most everybody's familiar with it. It's a software company, a gaming software company, one of the largest in the world. They released binary options, I think in November, and that's a warning shot. That means that everybody who's dealing with binary options is going to have to make a choice, whether they're going to get into the gaming side of things or whether they're going to get into the financial side of things. Will regulation define the product moving forward? What do you guys think? Of course it will. Everything's getting regulated. Things are going to have to change. The product as it is today is not going to be a sustainable model for the long run in the trading community. It may work in the gambling industry, but it's not going to hold water in the long run for anybody who's looking for legitimate trading. This brings us to the next point, which is flexible pricing. At the end of the day, everything is about pricing. It's about what kind of prices can you actually give the users. Regulation is starting to kick in, and it definitely has its. There's some things that are starting to be defined. Shai touched on this subject earlier regarding Japanese regulators, the JFSA, CFTC. Everybody's said something, and what they're saying is, you guys are gambling. You're going to have to change the way this product works. Of course, the basic idea of it stays the same. We're talking about, at the end of the day, it's predetermined. Everything is predetermined as far as what you're going to lose and what you're going to earn. But that's the only thing that stays the same. Everything else is going to have to change. Reasons for regulating. Okay. Easier corporate structuring, payment processing. Anybody who's worked in regulated obviously knows that it is a complete pain in the ass. It shuts down, it opens up, you never know what's going to happen. Easier banking and max confidence by traders. So I want to touch on that one a little bit. We are all very excited about CySec deciding to regulate binary options as a trading instrument. That's great. I can tell you that everybody, all the binary options providers, got on the bandwagon and said, hey, we're going to go get market making licenses. We're guilty of that as well. We went through the process for about a year, and a few months ago, the Cyprus thing happened. So it kind of, to me, I just, especially when dealing with the max confidence by traders. I'm sorry, but if you've got an internet connection, or if you are an avid watcher of Fox News or CBS or any other major network, seeing the CySec symbol on your platform, no offense to CySec, that does not really install a sense of confidence. That's just my personal perception on the matter. I'm sure some people will disagree with me, especially the folks at CySec. So that brings me to the next point, which is localized regulation. CySec was the first to come up with this regulation, and there haven't been many product changes. Everything has stayed fairly standard. But at the end of the day, it's also not a comprehensive solution. What it is, hey, this is going to work for Europe, and even that probably has some kind of time constraint on it. If you look at what happened in gambling, there were collective European licenses. Suddenly, Italy, France, England, everybody wanted localized licenses. So the question of whether this is going to hold up or not for the long term, it's questionable. It's not a comprehensive solution, that's for sure. It's not going to give you what the JFSA want. It's not going to give you what the CFTC want, or probably the Australian regulators for that matter. And all of these changes in the products that are going to have to come because of these regulatory changes are going to be challenging when it comes to actually pricing options properly. Because we're talking about moving into a world of fair play. None of this all or nothing trading, all or nothing gamble. That's not happening anymore. That's not going to hold up. It'll hold up in the gaming world, but it's not going for the trading world. So obviously, I said I was going to stay away from selling to you guys, but that wouldn't be fair because you put a salesman on the stage, and I was just joking with you. I'm going to tell you what Tech Financials is thinking. What we're thinking for the future, and this is where it's at right now. CySec to us is a stopgap. It is something that we can do right now. It's going to look really good, but it's not actually going to solve the problem, the regulatory problems for the long run. So we're actually going to start with what we've been doing for a long time. Shai touched on this issue as well. Scalable technological solutions. It's at the end of the day, there's a lot of deception in the statement of I guess what's it called? One-stop shops, if you will, getting collective solutions. There's a lot of deception in that because as a broker, at the end of the day, that means somebody's got their hand in the cookie jar. Somebody's processing your money. Somebody's taking marketing money off you. Somebody's taking some additional royalties for sales or whatnot. It's additional products that have nothing to do with the product. It's just services. So despite the fact that we do offer an all-in-one solution, it's not something that we actually encourage our brokers to do. We encourage our brokers to host on their own systems, to build their own websites, to just use the trading application, to use whatever they want. The system, our system, Tech Financial system, it's basically broken down into 100 pieces. You can decide what you want, what you don't want. And that's, at the end of the day, I don't know if that's an advantage that we have over other people because I'm not really sure what our competitors are doing in that field, but we do think it's important, and we do think that as the regulatory environment progresses, it's going to become even more important. The right product mix. This goes back to what I was saying about gaming. You got this, you got that. You got to choose where you're going, and at that point, we feel that we've created the right products for this moving forward because at the end of the day, it's all about the pricing engine. And our pricing engine, luckily the guys that founded our company thought about this a long, long time ago. And they built a pricing engine that is adaptable, it's reliable, but more so, it's flexible. It's going to be able to actually move around with the changes that are set forth by every regulatory body. So I guess at the end of the day, what I'm saying is that you all have a choice. Everybody has a freedom of choice, and I think you should choose wisely. Thank you.
Hi, thank you. Hopefully everyone can hear me. Again, my name is Tim McDermott. I'm the General Counsel and Chief Regulatory Officer for NADEX, the North American Derivatives Exchange, which is based in Chicago. Given my role as General Counsel, I tend to view the state of the binary industry, particularly in the United States, through a legal and regulatory perspective. And certainly at our booth down here at the conference, we've gotten lots of questions about how the regulations work in the United States, what's allowed, what's not allowed. And so I thought I would spend some time focusing on that Before I do that, I just want to make sure people know who Nadex is. Nadex is the largest and most diverse retail binary options exchange in the United States. As I said, we're based in Chicago. We accept direct members who sign up as members, customers who sign up as members of the exchange, retail customers, and they can trade on the exchange with other members. And we are, in fact, regulated by the Commodity Futures Trading Commission as both a designated contract market and a derivatives clearing organization. That means, as a designated contract market, we've gone through the process of satisfying for the CFTC that we meet all their regulations and requirements for any exchange, whether it's the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, NYMEX, Nadex. We're all designated contract markets. That means we can list and offer contracts for trading in the United States. Similarly, as a derivatives clearing organization, that means we've been recognized by the CFTC to accept and hold funds, to settle contracts, to act as a clearing organization or clearinghouse in the US. Nadex has been operating in one form or another in the US since 2004, and over the course of that time, been offering binary options. So we actually have a long history of offering binary options in the United States in a regulated environment. Since late 2007, the organization was acquired by IG Group. I'm sure most of you are familiar with IG. They also have a booth here at the conference. It's the world's largest platform for CFDs, as well as offering Forex and binary options. And most importantly for us, they are a FTSE 250 company with a $2.5 billion plus market cap, and it's a strong backer for our exchange, and we're fortunate to have that standing behind us. So as I said, I'm going to focus on the regulatory environment in the U.S. and really to understand how things work in the United States, you have to start with a general understanding of a rather unique regulatory environment. We have a bifurcated system that's based on the underlying product that you're offering. So if you're dealing in something or offering something that involves single stocks or cash indices, you're subject to regulation by the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC. If you're offering something based on almost anything else, it's regulated by the CFTC, the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. As I said, we're regulated by the CFTC. The CFTC treats binary options as commodity options. Also, they fall into the category of swaps. This is an area that the CFTC has broad discretion over and very wide ability to implement regulations. And they've shown an ever-growing desire to exercise that authority. So we aren't getting any less regulation, we're getting more regulation, but as I said, we've been operating in the United States subject to regulation by the CFTC since 2004. The short answer is, and I'll get into this more, but essentially, if you're looking at retail trading of binary options in the United States, it has to occur on either a registered securities exchange, if you're dealing with binary options on stocks, or it has to occur on a designated contract market if you're talking about binary options on just about anything else. So I know that depending on what websites you look at and what articles you read, there's some sort of confusion or suggested confusion about what the regulatory state of affairs is in the United States. I've seen people who suggest that there was a broad approval of binary options in the United States going back to 2008. If you look at what happened in 2008, the SEC didn't say all binary options trading is fine in the United States. What they actually said was, with respect to some specific rules filed by specific exchanges and clearinghouses, those particular contracts, exchange-listed, centrally cleared contracts, would be allowed. That involved the fixed return options that Amex wanted to list and the OCC was going to clear. Again, other exchanges also list binary options that have been approved by the regulators. The CBOE lists binary options on the security side. It's a registered securities exchange and lists binary options on the S&P 500. Nadex, as I said, lists a broad range of binary options on everything from index futures to spot forex rates to commodities, gold, crude, the metals, to various economic events, unemployment rate, things like that. So we have a very broad array of products, and as I said, we don't offer any binary options on single stocks or cash indices. If we were to do that, that would be subject to SEC regulation. Again, the short answer is, if you want to do business legally in the United States involving binary options, they have to be listed on an SEC registered exchange if you're dealing with single stocks or cash indices, CFTC registered DCM if on anything else, and if you want to offer both, and I know a lot of platforms offer both binary options on stocks like Yahoo and Google, and on commodities, gold, silver, crude, whatever. Actually, you would have to be both SEC and CFTC regulated. What's the result of not complying with the requirements in the United States? Well, we saw late last year the CFTC filed an action in federal court against Trade Exchange Network and Intrade. Intrade, of course, is an Ireland-based company which is actually known for offering binary options on election markets that were very popular in the United States. And when the CFTC looked at what they were doing, they charged them with violating the Commodity Exchange Act and CFTC regulations, quote, by offering for trading to U.S. customers and soliciting and accepting orders from U.S. customers for the trading of commodity option contracts, options or binary options, prohibited by the Commission's ban on trading off-exchange options. So effectively, if you're offering them for trading, if you're soliciting orders to trade, or you're accepting orders to trade, the CFTC finds it to be a violation of the Commodity Exchange Act and their regulations. Now, interestingly, even though Intrade is really known for offering election markets, you read the complaint, and nothing in the complaint talked about election markets. Instead, they focused on contracts that Intrade offered on gold, crude oil, and events like the unemployment rate. And I think they did that for a reason, which I'll get to in a second. But in addition to focusing on some specific products, they also were clear to distinguish between retail market participants and eligible contract participants, or ECPs. Noting in the complaint again that in order for these binary options to be legal, Intrade was required, pursuant to the Act, to restrict the offering, soliciting, and accepting of orders and funds to trade these contracts to eligible contract participants, or ECPs. Now, the definition of an ECP is really long, and I won't go through the whole thing, but for our purposes, the really relevant part is that if you're talking about an individual that you can trade binary options with off an exchange, to qualify as an ECP, that individual has to have amounts invested on a discretionary basis that exceeds $10 million. That's not assets, that's not net assets, that's the amount that they have available to invest on a discretionary basis. It has to exceed $10 million. Or if it's an entity, it has to have assets of at least $10 million. So we're talking about, by and large, no one who trades binary options in the United States in the retail market qualifies as an ECP. So effectively, all that trading needs to occur on an exchange. And I think the important part is, what's the CFTC looking for once they allege a violation of the Act? Well, they're seeking injunctive relief against Intrade, making them stop doing it, as well as civil monetary penalties, fines, which can be quite large, trading and registration bans in the US, talk more about that in a minute, disgorgement, rescission, pre- and post-judgment interest, and other appropriate relief. Basically, cancel all the trades you've ever done, give back all the money, pay penalties. Not a happy result if you find yourself in that position and the CFTC prevails in an action against you. So, is this action a sign of things to come? Well, I said earlier that I thought the CFTC had a reason when they focused on Intrade's gold, crude oil, and economic event markets rather than the election contracts. And I think the point was, most of the binary option industry doesn't offer election markets. Most of them are focused on, obviously, more of these types of contracts, crude, gold, et cetera. And I think the CFTC is sending a very clear message with this filing. David Meister, the director of their Division of Enforcement, said, it's against the law to solicit U.S. persons to buy and sell commodity options, even if they are called prediction contracts, unless they are listed for trading and traded on a CFTC registered exchange, or unless legally exempt. That is, you're dealing with an ECP, large trader. Today's action should make it clear that we will intervene in the prediction markets wherever they may be based when their U.S. activities violate the Commodity Exchange Act or the CFTC's regulation. So whether you're based in Ireland or somewhere else, the CFTC is saying if you're offering customers in the United States contracts, they think you're fair game. So that was one action. Let's talk about another recent development that followed the filing of that case. So in January of this year, Bank the Binary closed its site to U.S. customers. And they issued a press release when they did that, announcing that they were in talks with the CFTC in order to obtain regulation for its operations of binary options exchange in the United States, asserting that specific regulation for binary option trading has not previously existed. This goes back to that notion that somehow there's some confusion about what the regulatory status is in the United States. Well, not surprisingly, a few days later, Bank the Binary retracted that press release and on their website noted that it was inaccurate in several respects and stated that Bank the Binary had been advised by the CFTC that it is not permitted to market binary options to United States persons. And this is an entity, this is one of the binary option providers that did in fact have regulatory status in Cyprus. So your regulatory status someplace else doesn't protect you from prosecution by the CFTC, again, if you're dealing with US customers in the United States. And let's not forget about the SEC, because as I said, we have this crazy bifurcated system in the United States. So I'll tell you that SEC is also investigating parties involved in the offering of unregistered binary options on stocks and cash indices. Specifically, we know they have an investigation involving Bank the Binary. The reason we know that is because Nadex personnel actually were interviewed by the SEC seeking background information on the binary options industry generally. And I will also tell you that while the matter they were interviewing us in connection with involved Bank the Binary, their questions weren't limited to Bank the Binary. They basically were looking for a tutorial on online binary option providers generally, on the entities that provide the white label technology for those platforms, and all I can say is they seem very interested in all of it. So where might this lead? Well, I think where we're going to be going soon, and we may have to get through more of the conclusion of the Bank the Binary case, but I think we'll see more cease and desist letters issued by the regulators to parties. I know some have already gone out to some participants in the industry. I think that particularly if you receive a cease and desist letter from one of the US regulators and you don't comply with it, you can expect an enforcement action on the heels of that. I think even if you don't get a cease and desist letter, more enforcement actions are almost a certainty. I think that, and I mentioned this earlier, one of the things that we're asking for in the in-trade case was a trade on, or a ban on trading and registration in the United States. What that means is if they do file an enforcement action, one of the things they're going to be looking for is not only fines and penalties and other sanctions based on past conduct, but effectively the ability to lock somebody out of the US markets on a going forward basis. So I heard on another panel earlier this morning, someone noted that if you're engaged in this business with US customers and you're not doing it on a regulated exchange, you're either very brave or very foolish. Maybe both, but you know, the regulators are very, very aggressive, and they're getting more aggressive in exercising their authority. So I I don't want this to all be a negative presentation, so I'll talk about something positive. As I said, IG Group acquired Nadex end of 2007, went through a long process of, at Nadex, of improving all the technology, expanding our product set significantly, going to the CFTC and getting regulatory approval of our ability to offer not only direct membership to retail customers, but also to expand our ability to bring in business by allowing us to accept intermediated business from FCMs, futures commission merchants or brokers. So we now have the ability to accept both direct members and intermediated business through brokers. Once we got all that in place, in about 2010, you can see the volumes have really increased significantly and steadily, and we hope that's going to continue. And there really isn't any reason why it shouldn't continue. Even though there are strict regulations in the United States, there are lots of ways to legally participate in the business in the United States. You can go through the process like we did of becoming a DCM and a DCO. It can be done. It takes time and it takes a significant investment, but if you're committed to the product, you can do that. You can become a regulated exchange in the United States. If you don't want to go through that process, you can become an FCM, subject to still regulation, but it's not nearly comparable to what it takes to become an exchange. It does have some capital requirements. Again, not overly burdensome, but some significant capital requirements. And you can then intermediate business, become an FCM member of the exchange, and intermediate business onto the exchange and earn commission revenues from that activity. Also, if your strength is actually acquiring customers and bringing customers in, but you don't necessarily want to incur the capital costs or the other regulatory burden, higher regulatory burdens of being an FCM, you can become a regulated introducing broker and introduce business to an FCM who's an FCM member of the exchange and earn commission revenues on that activity. Finally, maybe your business isn't, or your business strength isn't acquiring customers, providing the technology for customers to trade, et cetera. Maybe it's just pricing binaries. Maybe you're just a really good binary trader. Well, if that's the case, you can become a member of the exchange and trade binaries on the exchange, or you can even become a market maker on the exchange and take on the responsibilities of market making, but also the opportunity to market make, because that can be a valuable opportunity as well. So there are lots of ways to participate legitimately and legally in the business in the United States without incurring the exposure that one would otherwise incur if you're doing it in an unregulated capacity, be it something other than a regulated exchange. So, again, the trends are very positive in the United States. I will say that as the binary options industry has continued to grow, familiarity with binary options in the United States is continuing to grow, but we're still at a very low level. There's lots and lots and lots of people in the United States who would be really perfect candidates to trade binary options, who've never heard of them, don't know what they are, and need to get educated. But the opportunities are there, but if you do it the wrong way, there's also a lot of risk. So thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your time.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Pleasure to be here, honored. Hope everyone's having a good time at the expo. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Ben, VP of Sales for Tradeologic, and I'm here to present at the IFX Expo Tradeologic Solutions. I'm not going to go too much in depth about the company. Most of you guys know who we are already. We've been in business since 2008. Obviously, we are a platform providing solution. What I do want to point out is that we were one of the biggest and the best, obviously providing over 160 employees worldwide to address, the various needs out there as far as the Forex and binary industries are concerned. What I do want to focus on are some of the challenges that we're seeing in this industry, within the Forex industry and the binary industry. And that's basically the competition on traffic, which will lead to the increase of user costs and ultimately the increase of the user value. At Tradeologic, we've basically defined 3 different bubbles which will help you increase your revenues. One is the user's time on the website. The second is retention tools. And finally, the agent environment. All of which are obviously advanced features that serve major purposes to increase revenues. First one, user's time on the website. How do we do that? By offering different variety of trading options, different variety of features, which I'll go more into detail about in a few minutes, and variety of skins, along with our value-added widgets. Option types. Like everybody, we have our digital, we have our touch, and we have our range. Digital being the high-low, touch, no touch, range, boundary, in and out. Pretty self-explanatory. Here's where we've tried to differentiate ourselves with our patent-listed tools, trading tools that is, such as our extend feature, our close, with the take profit, stop loss, double, insurance, and restrike, all of which are familiar terms within the industry. Features, additional features being something new, such as our turbo feature, which has the 15-second, 60-second, 2-minute, 5-minute trade options. The instant trade, which will allow you to basically enter it instantaneously. A sell option, which will allow you to do something opposite of what you're used to doing. Our triple, which is very much like a parlay. Matrix, where you're basically looking at something similar to a bingo, where you're looking at different tips spread across. The auto trade, which is basically set ahead of time, continues to auto trade until you lose, obviously. And the knock-in, at a predetermined price that you get knocked in. The trading phase, the variety of trading interfaces, which will allow your amateur and professional traders alike to capitalize and feel like they're in control, to allow them to basically feel that, you know, there's a skin that's basically catered to them and that they're able to, you know, feel comfortable in trading and, you know, have different interfaces to engage in. Value-added widgets, our trader segment analysis, self-statistics, user notifications, my performance, the indications and asset performance, all which will basically help you with the ability to currently, you know, interface with your customers or basically interface with the traders and basically get back to them with information that will provide them the necessary tools to enhance their trading performance. Secondly, we come to retention tools. The retention tools obviously are catered to the operator itself, being retention alerts, which will alert you to high deposits, withdrawal alerts, and obviously declined deposit alerts. Customized conditions, advanced bonus systems, auto notifications, all of which are proprietary and which will help you guys as operators engage with your traders to help them stay on the site and retain. And finally, we get to the agent environment, which is very important because you're dealing with the masses, and basically with 2.5+ years of industry experience, we realize that that's really hard to do to keep track of everything that's out going out there. So what we've done at TraderLogic is provide you the tools, actually, to look at your user management screens, agent toolbars, mass updates, templates, user stats, favorites, users online, all the statistics you need to basically analyze the big data so you can make a conscious decision on a micro level. So to recap, we've got our full comprehensive solution, which brings our front end, our back end, as well as our trading desk, the affiliation system, and the variety of APIs and widgets, which all come together, which will provide you a full solution to run your business. Our second solution would be our API and widget solution, which is a modular-based solution, which will allow you to take a la carte, piece by piece, plug it in, exactly what you need, take what you want, don't take what you don't want. And as you can see, your management system, your website, integrated with our platform, or with the widget, you basically use your website, our management system, and just take our widget to plug it in. And as I said, I wanted to feature on the value-added widgets, your trader segment analysis, which will allow you to see, you know, overall the big picture, self-statistics to see how you're doing, your performance, which will basically assetize yourself, user notifications, whichever that you're set will obviously pop up, let you realize, you know, certain indicators that you need to be aware of, asset performance, and so on. We also have MT4 integration with the platform, which will allow you Forex traders to be trading binary options on a more familiarized level with no change. Everything stays the same. And getting to our most important point, our advantages. Our pricing algorithm, our risk management system, that is the bread and butter of our company. Quite simply for the fact that we're able to offer a fair value by basically offering you guys limited, I would say, by offering you guys the ability to pay out as high as 95% while addressing your risk down the road. Management system, obviously, is what we covered before with our CRM system, which allows you to interact with your users, your traders, your operators, your affiliates, and finally bring it down to our IT development capacity, which is something that's a strong point. We house over 80 professionals within house to basically cater to the demands on an ongoing daily basis. The variety of games and features, which I mentioned before, which will allow you guys to have different variety of trading options to offer to your traders. Our stability and scalability, 99.9% uptime spread across Europe in 3 different countries. And our customer relations, where we're able to assign each and every operator a customized project manager to work with you on a one-on-one basis. Thank you very much, folks.
Thank you, Ben.